On this episode of Ask Aaron, we're going to be installing some floor tile. Let's begin. Alright, I'm starting on the tile in the bathroom, and my tile floor is running this way, so I thought I'd give the room more depth by stopping it here at the doorway and then running it lengthways instead of running it like this. So basically what I'm doing is I'm laying out my pattern to see what I'll have for a cut over there in the back. So you want full tiles all the way across. Now what I could do is I could cut this first one down by half, and that'll put pretty much half over there, but the vanity's going there and the toilet's going there, so you'll really never see those little cut tiles back there, because because the shower's over there, I'll have a toilet paper stand in between, and it's a 36-inch cabinet plus the toilet, so pretty much all that will be hidden. That way you can see all the main tiles out this way. So what I want to do is I want to take a pencil and mark my lines out to get my pattern, because I want to work down, over, and then back out, so I'm not messing up the tile when I have to come back out. Alright, so what I did is when I laid my floor out, I went ahead and marked around everything, so when I work back this way, then I can work over and then back up. And this just gives me a quick, it's kind of hard to see, but quick guide on how my floor is going to be laid out. That way I can see if I'm getting off. So I'll probably do these first 4 rows, because that still leaves me a plan to get in, work over, and then back up, and then out. So always leave yourself out. Never paint yourself into a corner. Alright, so I'm going to be mixing up my large tile mortar. It just comes in bags. You can buy it in boxes. You can buy it a couple different ways. I think you might even be able to buy it pre-mixed. But I like mixing my own because I like a consistency about like a little thinner than peanut butter, so it still sticks and holds, because when you trowel it on, most of the tiles have a 1/4 inch trowel, so you want those peaks standing up, so when you put the tile down, it smashes those and covers the whole tile. But I also back butter, so I want to mix up some cement right now, so you don't want this dust going into your lungs, so make sure you have a mask or anything like that. That way you don't have to get any of this, because it will hurt your throat. So when I mix up mortar, I usually put water in the bottom, that way nothing sticks at the very, very bottom. And then I just take a drill with a paint stirrer, and you can feel it get real thick. Let me move this real quick. You can feel it get really thick, and then you need to add a little bit of water. And if you mix up a full batch, if you get a little bit too runny, you can just sprinkle some of the mortar back on top, thicken itself up. Now if you can see, that's mixed way too thick, and I got some dry spots down in the bottom, so you just want to make sure you mix it up really good, because you don't want dry on your tile, because then it won't adhere to the concrete backer board or concrete floor as good. Alright, so if you see this consistency is pretty much the way I like to do it. It's still stiff enough that it holds, but it's also movable pretty easy. Now what I'll do is I'll let this set up for about 15 minutes and then I'll start using it. Alright, so when you're doing tile, you don't really need a lot of tools, but it's a good thing to invest in a good knee pad or knee pads that you actually wear. Honestly, I don't like wearing knee pads because it cuts in the back of my leg, and it's just a personal preference. So these are, you can get them at Lowe's or Home Depot or anywhere, garden centers, and they're just basically made for kneeling on. Also, I like using these disposable plastic scrapers because you can just get the mortar out of there with it, and then once you get it out, you got to pay attention to what type of tile you're using. This is a 1/4 inch notch trowel, so what it does is it gives me a 1/4 inch ridges for the tile to sit on, and then I smush it down. Different tiles can use different things. Like if you're doing a backsplash, most of those use 1/8 inch because they're such light little tiles. Another good thing to have is a rubber mallet or a dead blow with sand in it. And then basically what you do with this is once you get the tile where you want it, you just tap it in, and then that way what it does is it sends vibrations through and makes that mortar collapse, so you get good even coverage. Now I also back butter all my tiles, that way the tile's not dry when it's touching that, so both of that together makes it work better and have better adhesion. So think of it like using rubber cement. You know, you paint both sides of your thing, and then when you stick them together, you can't get it back apart. Also, what you need is tile spacers. The way I'm doing this floor, I need the T spacer, so it looks like kind of like a T. It also does straights if you flip it over. They make these in all different sizes. It's just how big a grout line you want. I used to use 1/4 on everything I did, and now I'm tending to do the 16th or the 8th. So this floor I did all the 8th. When I do my shower pan, I'm going to do a 16th on there because I like that minimalist look. Alright, so when you're doing tiles and you got to cut out around something like the toilet bowl flange, so what I did is I went ahead and notched this tile because I knew I'd be taking more out of it. So what I did is I just put it down where it's supposed to go, and then I can make a perfect pencil line around it, and then I know exactly how to cut. So I want to take my camera outside and show how I cut this. Basically, you're just going to come in and make a bunch of cuts, and then you can kind of smooth it out. And now, if you're a tiny bit bigger than this, it really doesn't matter because, you know, the toilet's going to cover a lot of this tile. Now for my next piece of tile that I'm putting in, so this tile will be sitting here. I'm going to go ahead and put some spacers in. That way we can kind of get it marked too and go cut two things at once. so with all that laid out, and we already have this mark on here, so we can lay our tool ball flange upside down, make it here, and go ahead and make our mark on this side. So this is a tile saw. It's got a diamond blade, water pumps on it, keeps the tile cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to start making some cuts into here. Now, you can buy a cheap tile saw at Harbor Freight for like $50, $60. This one was close to $400. It's got laser on it and a light. You could also do plunge cuts with it. If you're going to be doing a little bit of tile, the ones at Harbor Freight are good. I actually wore out 2 of them before I bought this one. So you can also go to a tool rental place, and most tool rental places you can rent these for the weekend or whatever. I personally don't know how much they cost. Maybe I'll link it in the description, but these save a lot of heartache. Now, if you're going to be doing anything that you don't have to cut around, they do make a tile breaker, which is just a little diamond blade that you score the tile and then press down, it snaps right where you scored it at. So there's a few options out there, and I'll link some of the products down below. But I'm gonna go ahead and do a little time lapse of me cutting these out, and then I'll hopefully get this one cut out without breaking it. Alright, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to clean this tile up so I can get ready to put my grout in. So what you have to do is you'll get a little bit of tile mortar and stuff onto your tiles. And what I usually do is I just take a paint scraper like this and I just scrape off the big chunks. It's an easy process, and you just gotta kind of get it out of the cracks because you want your grout to go in there. Now, if you're using like a white grout, you don't have to clean it as good, but we're using a pretty dark brown grout. So it's really going to stand out if you miss a piece of this. So what I also use is this is a grout remover tool. So it just has like some kind of like sandpaper on it. You just put it down into the groove and just scrape along, and it just takes that mortar out. And it's a pretty easy process. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking a damp sponge and cleaning off the excess mortar. That way I can get it prepped and ready for grout. Alright, so I'm putting down a grout. It was kind of hard to get around that water line for the toilet, but what you like to do is put a little bit down, and then you want to run like at a 45-degree angle, and that way you make sure you get it pushed into all the joints. You will find a few spots that you miss sometimes, and then when you're cleaning with the wet sponge, that's a good chance to fill those voids back in.
So when you're cleaning the first time, you're not trying to get it perfectly clean. You're just basically wanting to get all the little excess off of it. So you see me rubbing it in and then taking another sponge back across it. When I do my final clean, I usually wipe once, flip the sponge over, wipe again, and then clean. I found that's pretty much the best way to get all the grout off of the top of the tile. Thank you for watching. I hope you can take something away from this video and apply it to one of your projects. Remember, smash that like button and subscribe for more like this.